Have you ever stopped to watch a bee working its way through your garden, flower to flower, dusted in yellow pollen, completely absorbed in its work? There's something almost magical about it. But here's the thing, that bee isn't just beautiful to watch, it is literally keeping your garden, and much of the world's food supply, alive. Today on Serge's Garden, we're going deep on one of nature's most extraordinary partnerships, the relationship between pollinators and plants. How does it actually work? Why does it matter? And most importantly, what can you do in your own garden to be part of this incredible story? So, let's start at the very beginning. What actually is pollination? Most flowering plants reproduce sexually, which means they need to transfer pollen from the male part of a flower, called the stamen, to the female part, called the pistil. When pollen lands on the pistil of the right species, it travels down to fertilize the egg. And that fertilized egg becomes a seed. That seed can grow into a new plant. Simple enough in theory. But here's the challenge. Plants can't move. They can't carry their own pollen from flower to flower. So over millions of years, they evolved an extraordinary solution. They outsourced the job. They began producing flowers, bright, colorful, fragrant, nectar-filled flowers, specifically designed to attract animals that would carry pollen for them. And the animals that do that job are what we call pollinators. It's one of the most elegant deals in the history of life on Earth. The plant provides food, nectar and pollen, and in return the pollinator accidentally delivers pollen to the next flower it visits. Nobody planned it, it just evolved. And it works so beautifully that roughly 80% of all flowering plant species depend on it. When most people think of pollinators, they think of honeybees. And yes, honeybees are incredibly important, but they're just one piece of a much larger picture. Bees are the star performers, and that includes not just honeybees, but the 20,000 plus species of wild bees worldwide. Bumblebees, solitary mason bees, leafcutter bees, these often outperform honeybees in certain garden settings because they're active in cooler temperatures and are actually more efficient at transferring pollen for many plant species. Butterflies and moths are important pollinators too, particularly for flowers with long tubular shapes like phlox or valerian that are perfectly matched to a butterfly's proboscis. The moths do much of their work at night, visiting pale, fragrant flowers that open in the evening. Hoverflies are massively underappreciated. They look like small bees or wasps. It's a survival disguise, but they're genuine pollinators and visit an enormous range of flowers. Beetles were among the earliest pollinators on Earth, visiting ancient flowers long before bees evolved. Many plants still rely on them today. And birds, especially hummingbirds in the Americas, are important pollinators for tubular, brightly colored flowers. Even some bats are pollinators, working the night shift on tropical plants. The world of pollinators is far richer and stranger than most people realize. Let's get into the mechanics, because what happens at the level of a single flower is genuinely fascinating. A flower is essentially a sophisticated trap, designed to lure a pollinator in, dust it with pollen and send it on its way to the next flower. Take a bumblebee visiting a lavender flower. The bee is attracted first by color. Lavender's purple-violet sits in the part of the spectrum that bees see particularly well. As it gets closer, fragrance guides it in like a runway of scent. Landing on the flower, the bee pushes inside to reach the nectar at the base. As it does, the anthers, the pollen-carrying structures, brush against the bee's fuzzy body, depositing pollen. The bee then grooms the pollen into special pollen baskets on its back legs. You can actually see these as bright yellow or orange lumps on a returning bee. When the bee visits the next lavender plant, some of the pollen caught on its body rubs off onto the stigma, the sticky tip of the pistil. Pollination complete. But here's something remarkable. Flowers and their pollinators have often co-evolved so precisely that they fit together like a lock and key. The long, narrow tube of a foxglove perfectly fits a bumblebee's body length. The flat, open face of a scabiosa is perfectly sized for a butterfly to land on. Some orchids have evolved to mimic the appearance and even the scent of female bees, tricking male bees into attempting to mate with them, picking up pollen in the process. Nature is endlessly inventive. So, why does all of this matter beyond the beauty of it? The numbers are staggering. Around 1/3 of all the food humans eat depends on pollination. Apples, pears, cherries, strawberries, raspberries, tomatoes, courgettes, cucumbers, almonds, coffee, chocolate. All of these require pollinators. Without them, our diets would be reduced to wind-pollinated crops like wheat, rice, and corn. Nutritious, yes, but profoundly limited. Globally, pollinators contribute an estimated $577 billion worth of agricultural production every single year. But it goes even deeper than food. Pollinators underpin entire ecosystems. The fruits and seeds that result from pollination feed birds, mammals, insects. Those animals feed other animals. Remove pollinators and you don't just lose flowers, you start unraveling the food web from the bottom up. Wild plant communities depend on pollination for their genetic diversity and reproduction. Forests, meadows, hedgerows, all maintained in part by the quiet, daily work of bees, butterflies, and hoverflies. This is why the global decline of pollinators, driven by habitat loss, pesticide use, disease, and climate change, is one of the most serious environmental issues of our time. And it's why what you do in your own garden genuinely matters. Here's the empowering part, because your garden, however small, can be a genuine sanctuary for pollinators, and making it one is easier than you might think. 1. Grow the right plants. The single most powerful thing you can do, choose plants that produce pollen and nectar, and ideally choose plants that bloom at different times of year to provide food from early spring through late autumn. Lavender, Echinacea, Salvia, Scabiosa, Aster, Buddleia. These are all excellent. Avoid highly bred double flowers where the petals have replaced the reproductive parts. They look beautiful but offer almost nothing to pollinators. 2. Ditch the pesticides. Insecticides don't distinguish between pest insects and beneficial ones. A garden sprayed with pesticides is a hostile environment for bees and hoverflies. Try organic alternatives. Companion planting, encouraging natural predators like ladybirds, physical barriers. Your garden will find its own balance. 3. Leave some wildness. A pile of logs in a corner, a patch of long grass, some bare soil for ground nesting bees. A small pile of dry hollow stems left through winter for solitary bees to overwinter in. These messy features are wildlife gold. 4. Provide water. Bees need water, especially in summer. A shallow dish with a few pebbles for them to land on, kept topped up with clean water, can support hundreds of bees through a dry spell. 5. Build or buy a bee hotel. Solitary bees, mason bees, leafcutter bees are extraordinary pollinators and will readily use purpose-built nesting structures. Site them in a warm, sunny spot facing south if possible. 6. Think about the whole season. Early spring pollinators, queen bumblebees just waking from hibernation, are desperate for food. Plant early bloomers, hellebores, pulmonaria, crocus, and mahonia. In late autumn, asters and sedum provide the last nectar feast before winter. Every flowering week you can add to the season makes a difference. There's a quote I love, often attributed to Albert Einstein, though the true origin is debated, that says, "If the bee disappeared from the surface of the earth, man would have no more than 4 years left to live." Whether Einstein said it or not, the truth it points to is real. We are deeply, inescapably dependent on pollinators, and for most of human history we took that relationship for granted. But here's what gives me genuine hope. Pollinators respond remarkably quickly to positive change. Studies have shown that even small patches of pollinator-friendly planting in urban areas can support thriving populations of wild bees within just a few years. Gardens collectively cover a huge area. In the UK alone, gardens cover more land than all the nature reserves combined. That's extraordinary. And it means that the choices you make, what you plant, what you don't spray, how you manage your outside space, add up to something genuinely significant. Your garden is not just a private pleasure, it's a node in a living network.